guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. Our toil, resources, and livelihood are all involved. So is the very structure of our society. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes. We should take nothing for granted. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizenry can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machinery of defense with our peaceful methods and goals.
I got so many things going on here right now. It's not even funny. Hold on here. Oh my God, the place is a mess, but actually it's a lot cleaner than it was 2 days ago. I've been actually working pretty hard. But the harder you work, the more of a mess you end up making. I'd like to welcome everyone tonight. Thank you very much for joining me on another edition of the Bergy-Bit on freedomstream.tv's The American Awakening. Let me see what's going on here. Hope everybody can hear okay. Looking over in the Twitch stream. Boric 1 in Chile. Hip, hello. How are you doing tonight? Southern Charms cannot be in the chat tonight, but she is with us, I believe, in spirit. Truth is a light, burn as a dick. Well, you know, I would argue with that. He's actually kind of fun to hang out and smoke a joint with. I don't agree with his, the people that he works with. I don't agree with his connections with Council on Foreign Relations. The list goes on. I have, shoot, what did I do with that? What folder would that be in? And I didn't get this. I didn't get this brought over. Bear with me one moment. There's that. And I'm not going to. Right. Where is that? I have a text message. Where did that's where I know where I sent it. Bear with me one moment, folks. I actually know where I'm going for this, assuming that, here we are, frequent. Change that sort or I will never find it. There we go. Now this, I'm just going to toss this in here. Let me toss all of these in here. We'll throw in that one too. There we go. Actually, what I'm going to do is put me in studio mode. I'm going to drag these over here. Ding, 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 ding. Yay, look at that. And then bear with me just one moment. This is important, actually. I've been going all day, doing my best to get everything lined up. I hope everybody had a chance to take a look at the website, which I'm going to be going to here, uno momento, freedomstream.tv. Actually did a lot of work on that. The last couple days, I've been madly rendering. There we are. 80 I'm over 80 videos right now that I've uploaded to freedomstream.tv, to the Bergy-Bit. Now, I'm going to make those subscription only, but for a bit, I'm leaving them the way they are. And like I think it actually is coming out pretty good. Now, I don't know which one of these is which. Let me do this here. Operation. Okay. No, no coin. We're going to get rid of that. No, don't want that. Okay, so here. Okay, so I am going to push this over here real quick. Transition. Boy, I'm in open right now too. Okay, there we go. So, this is I want to start the show out here real quick. This is a text message that was exchanged between Sean Weitzman and Funes, Jason Funes. I have the DMs, original DMs from Weitzman and everything with this. So why do I have this right now? Well, I've been working while these 80 videos are rendering, which takes between 6 minutes and 30 some minutes to render each one. Some were really long to re-render them into the format that I'm trying to, get them to go to. Then here we are. Let me silence this here. Then I have this extra time to didn't put the phone on. I have this extra time right now though to be able to organize and sort all of my documents, texts, emails, videos, everything that I've really had this unprecedented access to because of my involvement with Shadowgate, then getting brought into DC. Now, let's take a look at let's break down what our good friend Jason Funes had to say to Sean. He said, since I haven't ever really been able to work with you since we both left the mayor's hotel, that would be the Willard. Are you a white hat or black hat? Question mark. You came from Black Hat world, but what does that mean for you now? I don't know who I can trust. Can I trust you? Now, so what this suggests is that both Funes and Sean were working together in D.C. at the Willard. People who followed my story with Tori will know that I first saw Jason Funes with somebody in the lobby of the Willard. I was standing there next to Tori, and I pointed out to her, and this we have this in a Tori chat, in a stereo that I did with Tori, where we talked about this, and she confirmed everything. And I'm like, wow, who are those freaking MIC assets? And so she just kind of walked away from me, walked over there and to where they were at, and just started talking with them. Then I ended up going over there. Emerald Robinson was engaged with them as well. Seems as though she was trying to go over there actually and separate Emerald from them. She knew who they were. I can see that clearly now. So he's referring to, since I haven't ever been able to work with you since we both left the mayor's hotel. So what that's telling me is almost certainly that other guy that was in the lobby, well, with a high degree of probability, was Sean Weitzman, which I've known for quite a while. I got this from Sean quite a ways back. I've been onto them since the 21st, when they first engaged me. And if you all remember, I posted online a question. This was Friday or Saturday. I think it's Saturday. I posted online a question to, what the hell is it? DNI Rich Grinnell, former DNI Rich Grinnell, and asked him, hey, remember when that sociopath Funes, and I'm paraphrasing myself here, but I said, remember when that sociopath Funes called you standing right here, right? Actually, that spot, called you on the 21st, wee hours of the morning. Here, it was super late, and we're 3 hours ahead of you. It was probably 2 o'clock here, so it was probably 11 midnight there. And was talking to you about this, and you started screaming at, when I say you, Rich Grinnell started, like really being like aggressive with him, like, listen, it's over, it's over. You need to seek medical help, right? He was saying the guy's fucking mental, and he, Rich was right on that, So, was Rich Grinnell working with these guys? Apparently they were, but was Rich working with these guys? This is how deep this goes, but I continue. This is typical Sean Weitzman's response, which means, yeah, what he's saying is almost certainly true. This is how he cockily responded to me a few weeks back. During that, when we were having that Tory thing and I was being attacked by Thought Criminal, and all of a sudden all of these associates exposed themselves, exposed their network. And when he attacked me the way that he did, he confirmed many different things. So as I'm going through, as I'm rendering some 80 videos, updating the site, which I'll go to in a moment, and doing all of these things, I came across this, which I'm documenting for the book, right? Why does this matter? Well, Funes, this states, okay, let's finish what it says here. All you had to do was lie to me and say you were a white hat and you failed on your phone call. Maybe you're not a good linguist after all. Actually, no, I might be wrong here. I got to confirm whether this was to Tory. No, this was to Sean. I got to confirm it. This was to Sean. Is it Sean or Tory? No, this was to Sean. No, this was to Sean because I got the message right after. But I'm going to confirm this. I got Sean's response right after this. This is from Sean. It was a screenshot that I had taken right at the time. So I said, but then he goes down and he said, you and PB's mission was to give enough info, then handicap. Now that your former bosses are back in power, you lay off exposing Shadowgate and the 13 plus IIA operations running. Your linguist, he corrected himself. Whenever you're being a dick to someone in a text message, in a DM, and you have to go back and correct yourself, it just makes you look stupid, right? Just leave that. Let the just words of the wise. We can go into shadow hacking 101. Let them come back and be the grammar Nazis, and then point out that they're being grammar Nazis. Don't fix yourself. It's a sign of weakness, Jason. So anyway, but you can see, this relationship that Jason has with all of these people. Now, I want to go, what is this here? So, and this is, oh, no, I got to save that one for a minute here. So this is, this was Jonathan Lee Rich's this was when he had attacked me. This was on March 30th of 2021. This was just a couple days after this was just a couple days after this is just a couple days after doing the pre-launch to Operation Shadowgate Part 1, right? It was tactical, coordinated, and timed. This was before the one that Funes, this was before the one that Jonathan Lee Riches did, stating that I was saying that I'd molested my daughter when she was 10. Now, if you look at the messages here, Jonathan Lee Riches, Patrick, don't want to come to your and Mia and Laura's house. Just stated KC and my stuff is at your studio. So, yes, I will call the sheriffs. So expect them to visit looking for my property. Now, that was all just bullshit. That was KC, a girl that he has been engaged with or had engaged a long time ago. Not engaged as in marriage, but professionally as sociopaths. Actually, I kind of think she's a victim of them. She's like got Stockholm syndrome or something. He beats the shit out of her. He confessed to over the phone once, and I had to pick her up. I picked her up in Miami, and she explained the situation there. So if I'm wrong, about that, you can ask KC because she's the one that said that. It could have all been just a setup, right? That's kind of how they work. Actually, let me do this here. I'm reading something. I didn't transition it over. There we go. I'm in studio mode, so I've got to remember to transition over. Here we are. So, boy, did I even have that other one? Yeah, I did. I could see it over there. So here is another one. Convicted felon. Convicted felon from a mental prison is pissed that I'm protecting only as a friend a woman that he was beating. I heard him personally admit she deserves it. Now he's attacking my veteran nonprofit, which is chaired by a 3-time Purple Heart recipient. All right. So literally, he goes after, well, Fred Taylor, my everything. I had posted with that. Jonathan Lee Riches, Pasco County, Port Richey resident, Patrick Bergy, is a fraud who sets up bogus nonprofits in Florida and pretends DC intelligence clearance. He doxes Proud Boys and harasses Roger Stone and Ali Alexander through nonsensical tinfoil hat videos. Right? So again, he's referencing Stone and Akbar. According to KC, which the J6 committee could prove whether or not this was true, Akbar had reached out to her, right? So let me do this here and switch this over to another one. Here we go. So this is from somebody who joined in. Almost certainly, this could be, this very well could be somebody like Tory. It's hard to say. I mean, if you saw Shadowgate, you saw that one person could be 25 different personas, right? And this guy is obviously, this Juan Lorenzo is almost certainly a fake persona, right? Or if he's not a fake persona, he's a persona like, it's probably somebody like Sean Weitzman, almost certainly, right? Which is amazing because these guys are all friends. But notice how he's like Pat Bergy. Yeah, you can see that there. Let me blow this up a bit. Juan Lorenzo Patrick Bergy, your friend who works for you is criminal Kristen Cleaver, a.k.a. Casey Ciccarello. Once arrested for identity theft, seen here with criminal Jonathan Proud Boy leader Enrique Tarrio and convicted drug dealer Stephen Parkle. You associate with these types of people. Now, this guy is just completely bullshit, right? You have criminals working for you. Good job. Your family must be proud of you, loser, right? We're going to let your ex-wife and kids know you associate with criminal Kristen Cleaver. So really, again, that's almost certainly Jonathan Lee Riches, a fake persona of his, which, by the way, is exactly what I was exposing in Shadowgate, right? And by the way, it's exactly the same thing that Tori does, which is why I don't agree with the shit that she does, right? I just simply don't agree with it. These people all work together. These people all do the same thing. And now, on a lighter note, I couldn't resist this one. I found this. I did this one the other day. Somebody put this out while y'all do Elf on the Shelf. I'm gonna do Snoop on a Stoop. And of course, my comment back on that was, I think it comes with every generic Viagra refill, and which is kind of a play off that. I was going to say the Bob Dole version was the Bob Dole version that comes free with every prescription of the actual Viagra was postponed for reasons, for obvious reasons. I was going to say that, but I decided not to because of the timing with the late Mr. Dole, who was almost 100 years old when he finally kicked it. I wonder if he had like a 4-hour erection at the time. I don't know. Pretty sure I'd put money on it that when Snoop dies, he's gonna have. I think he's gonna have an erection, like a 4-hour erection after he's gone. I think that may be something that helps take him out. But couldn't resist that one. It's kind of weird how Bob Dole does the actual Viagra for years as their spokesman, and then once it becomes generic, they're like, "Hey, what's Snoop Dogg doing?" And I'm like thinking, okay, this guy's like Mr. Gangsta, weed smoker, don't fuck with me, I'll freaking, and, now he's hawking generic Viagra. Can't make this shit up, my friends. So what I want to do here real quick is, let me go here. Do I have one? Open full right screen. Let me see which one this is. Wrong. Freedom Stream, no. YouTube, Home Freedom Stream. I want the 2012. There you are. Okay, so, let me get this cleaned up a little bit better here because I moved it around. So this is cool. I've been putting a lot of work. I put a lot of work into this, and it's coming along, as my late sister Laurie would say, swimmingly. Okay, and let me scroll that down there. Okay, so let me bring this there and there. And transition. Yay! It's the well, this is a blog post that I made, right? So this is a blog post. I'm going to start doing daily blog posts on freedomstream.tv. What I have connected here is to the this is to the Facebook site, Operation Shadowgate Facebook site. Actually, Facebook has a really good thing set up as far as it integrating tools with for businesses, for companies. And I am a legitimately Florida registered business, and I haven't spent a lot of time on Facebook because obviously I've been calling them out. They're in my key tam, their partnership with Atlantic Council. But that's not going to keep me from streaming to them because that would just be stupid if it did, right? Because it's actually a good platform to reach people, although they are going to try and continue to shadow block and things like that. But I think this is actually coming along pretty cool. So what I do, like featured in tonight's show, which I'm going to go into in just a moment, but I wanted to get into one more thing here. We're about half hour into the show. Let me go to the actual Bergy-Bit. Now, this is in the incognito browser. So it won't be logging me in, but this would be what a visitor would see. I am live right now here. I'm going to shut that off so I don't get an echo. Should be able to see, I think maybe I have to log in, but if I was logged in, hey, look, it's me on TV. But if I was logged in, I'd be able to actually, like make comments. I'd be able to make comments through if you're registered through Facebook, even though it's in the the stream there, or through the freedomstream.tv on the Bergy-Bit. Going through Facebook, you just have to log in and as register through Facebook, but you can actually do it on the site here. And what I did is, so there's been a lot of change. This shift with Tory, all the craziness with everybody related to Shadowgate and Burn and all of that. I needed my independence, right? How can I be I want to be a journalist. I want to go into journalism. I don't want to run around like with my time machine. I want to be an actual journalist, right? Maybe someday. Who knows? But so what I did is I'm taking this separation. I've gotten maybe a dozen people or so have canceled their subscriptions to Freedom Stream. Some helped out for a while. I guess they were only helping me because I was repeating what Tori said, but not going to do that, right? So what I did is I've changed the American Awakening Live monthly subscription from $5 where I had it to $7.99, which you'll be notified of that like before the next, and you can opt out if you want. If you have trouble like logging in or finding your password, check your spam. That's been the case a couple times for people. If it's not in your spam and you're just not getting it, send me a message. A couple people have done that. A couple people did it while like on the weekend or a Sunday where I'm out and I'm not in the office where I can do it. It fell off the plate. They got charged, and I immediately turned around, refunded that charge, which actually cost me a transaction fee. So it's like I didn't do it on purpose. I just, you couldn't go in change your password and do these things on your own. I get that, and that's not a knock. I mean, some people do. I got a lot more work to do with the site to make it more user-friendly and stuff. I'm constantly trying to improve on that. But so if you did run into that problem, I changed that, right? Or I got that taken care of. I'm bringing that up to $7.99, but I'm also doing something kind of cool. I'm offering for $79.99 a 1-year subscription to the Bergy-Bit, to the American Awakening. That subscription includes will include a commemorative coin and a certificate of a certified ethical shadow hacking certificate, right? Signed by me. So you'll get the certified ethical shadow hacking certificate signed by me. You'll get the no coin challenge coin. You gotta love how that one works out. $79 for the year, which actually, when you consider you get the coin and everything, it's actually less than what you'd be paying at $5 a month for doing the monthly thing, or right there around the same price, because there is a one-time shipping charge on that for sending those out. Shipping and handling, it's about $10. It won't be charged in a year when you decide whether to renew or not, right? So I think this is turning out pretty cool, though, right? So what are you getting for subscribing with this? Well, you're going to get daily articles that I'm putting together that you'll be able to go back and reference. These articles are going to be tied into my show every night. I'm working on this a little bit, right? I am working on this a little bit to make it a little cleaner, like I wanted for the background image. But it's actually kind of cool. So these these will be building up really quick. Another really cool thing that I did is, and this is what I've been doing all this weekend, right? So I've just I've taken, when I'm doing this show right now, when I click stop streaming, it automatically dumps a copy, a very high resolution copy onto my server of this show, however long it is. These are usually between 5 to 10 gigs in size. It then remuxes them from an MVK file, because the MVK files can't be corrupted. If the system were to crash right now and I was recording with a .mvk file, I would be able to recover everything up to the point it crashed. If I was just doing it in like an MP4 video, wouldn't be able to recover that. So what I did is I took all of those videos and I went through. I did a batch of 80 so far, which goes back to July, I think. And I took that batch of 80, I renamed them all properly, Bergy-Bit, relating to their date. Then I cut them, because it's got like the 10-minute or however many minute, 5-minute, 3-minute, however many minute countdown I would do. I eliminated that, so even if you went like to this one, if you played this one, it shows 11 seconds. You'd have 11 seconds, right? This one, immediately. So, and I think I think this one was the one from Friday. Now, as it stands, you can download this, right? On your, I could cast it up there to the
definitely
TV,
gonna need the fair use button there.
So I've got December, November, October. I'm still filling those up. I've got a lot to add. September, August, right? So I've actually got the archives set up really cool. What I'm gonna do when I get them all done and set up, I can go back through and add some context to it, right? Which will give them like tabs to where I can enter some more information, which will be nice. Again, right now, all of these are available. Right now, all of these are available.
Guard against the acquisition of unwarranted
There
influence,
we go.
whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
Stop the right one there. Right now, all of these are available. Oh, there it is. Where are you? Right now, all of these are available
Our toil,
without
resources, and livelihood are
there
all
it is.
involved.
Right now, all these are available without a subscription. I will be changing that, though. Possibly, I will leave like 1 month without a subscription, but every month after that, prior to that, you'll need to use the subscription. And I think we're going to I think this actually provides some good content, some good information from a trusted source that isn't going to be just putting out garbage. Has in the past stood up, even if it's been to his own detriment, for the truth. And you can go back in these videos and see examples of it all over the place, right? So I kind of like how this is looking right now. And it is my hopes. It is my hope that people will, even Tory says people will rethink some of these things, right? I believe, hopefully in the next couple days, maybe hopefully soon. I hope to have Linwood come on and have a conversation with me, right? And that's going to be very interesting. I'm telling you right now, that's going to be very interesting. So, okay, I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to. Well, I'll just pull this one up on this. So, I want to. Okay, let me go back to this because I'm just going to play this first one right from here, because the clips that I grabbed were from the other one. So bear with me one moment here. Right screen, Viva Barnes, go over. Oh, jeez. Here we are. Hey, that's pretty good. Okay, so I want to play this. This is just a few minutes, and again, I'm going to actually scroll down to the fair use statement that I literally have right here. I don't even have to press the other button for it. I'm putting this out on everything because this is under fair use. What these people are talking about, these are very these are actually pretty influential people, right? Now, a couple days ago, they put out this video about banning on YouTube. And what I want to compare that with is the video that they put out a year ago when on the 21st to the 22nd, when they were discussing the arrest of Millie Weaver, who was arrested while uploading Shadowgate, a documentary featuring the claims that I was making as a DOD whistleblower. So it's on that. It's because of that. It's because, not because of that I have any say either way about Millie Weaver. That stuff gets complicated, but it shouldn't matter, right? Because they drew me into this. I was actually invited to do something with Millie Weaver, who was a contractor for InfoWars. I agreed to do that, and it actually was, I learned a lot from that. We all could learn a lot from that. So I'm going to play this for a few minutes, and then I'm going to go over, I'll stop maybe at times when I want to add to it, and then we'll go over some pre-cut things that I already have of the one from last year with Colfage, Build the Wall. Because actually, this is kind of weird, because all these people were connected to what we were doing up in D.C. They were connected to where is it? I found these earlier today. This was my invite to DeSantis's inaugural ball. That was pretty cool. And Lieutenant Governor, right? That was from back January of 2018. That's that picture that I have with. That's that picture I have with Matt Gaetz. It's the first time I told him about. About Obama's Shadowgate. Ah, here it is. This is my speaker's pass. I believe I was wearing that. I believe this is what I was wearing when I engaged Akbar on January 5th, right? But Bannon, all right, so the guy, okay, so two people that are indicted or that are being subpoenaed right now by the J6 committee are actually two people I like. If they turn out to be bad guys, it's gonna be so pissed, because Dustin Stockton, he was like really cool, right? He was his wife, I think Jennifer, she was freaking really cool too. If these guys turn out to be bad, it's gonna piss me off. I saw freaking Ray Charles could have seen that Tory was gonna turn out bad. But if these guys are, it's just going to depress the shit out of me. So, my connection to this and to that, and keep in mind, we were there because we were guests of Millie, Gavin, and myself were guests of Patrick Byrne, and it was his acknowledgement and Laura Logan's getting. We were freaking being set up in D.C. by these people. So that's why this is relevant. And again, when you listen to this stuff from a year ago, we're going to play the one from a couple of days ago first. When you listen to the stuff from a year ago, you're going to go, holy shit, Barnes was wrong. I would also add before, and I'm taking forever with this, and we can run late. I would also add that Robert Barnes, I reached out to him when I was in L.A., and I was asking him to... I reached out to his law office to arrange. I was going to pay for an hour's meeting with him. I figured it would be $500 or $1,000. I was going to do it. It was worth that much. He's avoided ever returning a call, even though they did several reports about Millie, one of which you'll see a bit later, and others I've actually gone into. So let me do this here. Let me watch on YouTube.
Why doesn't every home in the U.S. have solar panels?
Oh, Jesus.
The number one
But
reason
let
is not
me
about sunlight or weather
do
or even
full
politics. It's
screen
actually just
on
because
this.
most
Let
people
me
don't know
skip
that's...
ad.
But I guess it's a good segue, Robert,
But
unless
bear
we've missed
with me
anything,
one moment here.
to Steve Bannon. where if they don't get you on the substance, they will get you on the procedure. And Bannon got his indictment for the We Build the Wall indictment. Kolthage didn't. And I said, if Bannon, I like to think if I were in Bannon's shoes, I might say, I decline your indictment and I will stand with my brethren. I'd like to think I would do that, but I don't know what I would do in that position.
Okay,
but a lot of good it did to him, because in the wake of Jan 6, Bannon gets congressional subpoena. The Congress has created their own raison d'etre, their own authority to investigate anything.
So this is where they start here.
And I said, if Bannon, to Steve Bannon, where if they don't get you on the substance, they will get you on the procedure. And Bannon got his indictment for the We Build the Wall indictment. Kolthage didn't. And I said, if Bannon, I like to think if I were in Bannon's shoes, I might say, I decline your indictment and I will stand with my brethren. I'd like to think I would do that, but I don't know what I would do in that position. But a lot of good it did to him, because in the wake of Jan 6, Bannon gets congressional subpoena. The Congress has created their own raison d'etre, their own authority to investigate anything and everything related to the events. I don't want to use the words, Robert, but it rhymes with schmerrists of January 6th. They've designated this as 9/11 2.0, and they've given themselves all the powers in the world to investigate everything and anything. They issue subpoenas to Bannon, who says, I'm not complying with them. I believe I have privilege, executive privilege. If I'm wrong, prove me wrong. And Robert, you'll explain to me why they don't go adjudicate that question first, but then they indict him by a grand jury, and there was a recent court order in that case. Before we get there, why is there not an obligation to adjudicate on the purported defense of executive privilege before moving on a contempt on the basis of executive privilege?
It's very difficult to contest congressional subpoenas in court in advance of a contempt proceeding as a private citizen. So that's the hard part. It's I believe Meadows is now contesting it. Trump, of course, did, and we'll get to what the D.C. Circuit did with that. But it's generally considered difficult to contest it. I would have advised trying it rather than go the contempt route. But it's not uncommon for the lawyers to advise to let them go the contempt route instead and challenge it in that way.
Okay, so he just simply refuses to comply, leads necessarily to an overly zealous, highly politicized, highly weaponized DOJ, Attorney General Merrick Garland. They go and get him indicted by a grand jury on contempt of Congress. And now apparently, Robert, you're going to have to explain to me how it even happened and came up. The United States of America, the Department of Justice, petitioned the court basically to have everything be, if it's not under seal, it's pretty damn close. They don't want anything.
Okay. Does that sound familiar, my friends? Under seal? The sealed indictment bullshit that they're doing to Bannon right now? Oh, wait a minute. That sounds exactly... and by the way, I apologize. I can't see any of the comments or anything. I hope everybody's behaving themselves. That sounds exactly like what happened to Millie Weaver after she was arrested, doesn't it? She gets arrested on a sealed indictment that was a bullshit one. From April 20th, apparently, like literally the day they sent me the text message, my first text message reaching out to me. And so Millie gets arrested while they're uploading it, her brother, her husband. They take her to jail over the weekend. He'll explain this in more detail right now, but in just a moment when I go into the previous the one from a year ago. But I'm just, as you're watching this, right? As you're watching this, please ask yourself, my friends, had Bannon spoke up, had any of these people actually followed through with the arrest of Millie Weaver? Because when she got in front of the judge The judge silenced her. She was a journalist. When Shadowgate 2 came out, defending the claims I made in Shadowgate 1 that were attacked by all these people connected to Shadowgate, many are like elected officials, very powerful high government officials. Journalist Millie Weaver, when she's putting Shadowgate 2 out, was under a gag order by the judge not to talk about anything like conspiratorial. Are you fucking kidding me? But I'm not kidding. I interviewed with Millie in their basement. At one point, we went on. They all have. Gavin's got video of a long a conversation that we went into. It involved several people, and I'm going to go into the details of it. But nonetheless, we determined right then, because of the court order, she could never put the stuff in that conversation in Shadowgate 2, which came out just a few days before they ended up. Shadowgate 2 came out, and then a couple days later, their court thing gets bumped up early. It was supposed to be on November 3rd. Not to be political, but they bumped it up from November 3rd to October 20th, I believe, is when she ended up going in, her brother, and Gavin. And but everything they're describing is exactly what happened to Millie Weaver. And if people had acted and stood up for that, for Millie Weaver, that journalist that this happened to, uploading Shadowgate, the documentary exposing my stuff as an Afghanistan veteran, DOD whistleblower, had y'all stood up for that, Steve Bannon wouldn't be going through this right now. All these people, I kind of think that maybe Millie Weaver was a test run to see what the government could get away with when it comes to journalists, when it comes to sealed indictments and secret grand juries and gag orders on journalists, so that you'll see him go into this, that a gag order literally on Steve Bannon, right?
Anything being made public in the context of those proceedings, what's the word? Protective orders. I don't know what. Basically, Bannon cannot publicly discuss or disclose any of the supporting documents the government supplied, filed, submitted to the grand jury. And the confidential information is going to be next level protection, but even the ordinary documentation in that file is now subject to a protective order. How does it happen? What's the documentation conceivably containing that it would require a protective order in the first place?
So if Julian Assange is the man in iron chains, Steve Bannon is now the man in the iron mask. Basically, he is being prohibited from disclosing any of the documents that are produced to him in discovery in the criminal proceedings to anybody. There has to be permission granted to file it in court for it to ever become part of the public record. And this is absurd. It is increasingly commonplace with prosecutors going to judges saying, we want any of the discovery on some pretext hidden from public disclosure. There were once grand jury records, something else, but it's a completely misapplied doctrine, because criminal discovery should not be subject to a protective order, that unless it entails private information of the defendant that the defendant wants subject to a protective order, unless it becomes pertinent to the trial. But otherwise, these kind of broad protective orders where they seal and hide and order a party, gag a party. I mean, that's what this really is. This is a gag order on discovery. You're not allowed to disclose to the world any information the government gives you unless it's filed in court itself. And so that is extraordinarily broad, no limit.
We're not. I had the volume off. I apologize, people. A lot of buttons, a lot of stuff going on. Somebody's probably actually texting me, telling me that too. That's funny. But at any rate, like I said, don't forget. This is why. This is why. Had we not ignored Millie Weaver, her arrest, right? And let's just take the name Millie Weaver out of it. Bryn, you lost. Yeah, I got that. Let's just take Millie Weaver out of that component, the name. Let's just insert a journalist who was arrested while uploading a documentary exposing the claims I was making. We let that go. And now this is happening to everybody. But oddly enough, the people this is happening to are all connected. You know, Viva and Barnes, they're connected. They were doing this right after, right? Now, does that make them a winning asset? No. Were people pushing stuff to them? Absolutely. Were they working very closely with Tory on this and such? Absolutely. Tory's argument would be, well, I was working with them to help get Millie out of jail. My argument to that would be, I'm pretty sure you were the reason she was put in jail. And not because of the bullshit that you were putting out in bullshit, unverifiable stuff that you were putting out in Shadowgate, which would be ridiculous for anybody to ever arrest someone for, because literally nothing she said was verified. It was just, from her time machine. Or was this because of information that was put out by me as a verifiable DOD whistleblower, right? That's the question that we have to ask ourselves. I think it was because they were trying to control what was going on with what I was exposing. And now all the same people, many of the same people that attacked Shadowgate, that were directly involved in it, that commented like these guys, right? Now, Barnes, I believe, please correct me if I'm wrong, please look at this for sure, but I believe Barnes is connected to InfoWars. He's done something for them, or represented somebody for them. I don't know. But seems to me as though, and you can see, my time with Millie, Gavin, Tory, and the rest of these people, more specifically Tory, she did have a connection with many of these people, right? So let me go on with this. It's only a few more. I'm just going to play. It's only 11 minutes, but it's actually quite important because what you're going to see next is going to be like, okay, wow, they were all very wrong.
It's no requirement that it meet any particular standard. The sensitive information has a heightened provision of protection.
My name is Scott Harris.
Really?
Just listen.
This is my wife.
Well, that's
Protection,
cute.
but all of it is limited under the protective order. This is the same Federalist Society Trump appointee who also ruled across the board in favor of Dominion in the defamation claims. It's another failure of Trump, and another one of these appointees that is unreliable on the bench in terms of liberty interest.
See how these are all connected? So the judge is connected to Dominion. Dominion is connected to Shadowgate. Hell, Seidel was referenced in the first Shadowgate on August that was uploaded as Millie was getting arrested on August 14th, 3 months before the 2020 presidential election, which ended up post 2020 presidential election. Post 2020 presidential election ended up involved with Seidel, involved with Dominion, right? And Now, Dominion and Seidel and all of those are suing for the billions of dollars. Lynn Wood, whom I believe was set up in this. Sidney Powell, whom I believe was completely involved with this knowingly and willingly. General Flynn, who I believe is one of the architects of it. That's what the no coin's about, right? Patrick Byrne, absolutely connected to this. I would argue probably connected in some way to the Seidel reference that was put into Shadowgate, because I'm pretty sure that was put into Shadowgate because of Tory. It certainly wasn't anything that I contributed to it. Everything that I contributed to it was either verifiable through the contracts that I worked or through documentation, verifiable documentation, DD-214s, line of authorities, right? Those are kind of hard to, those are easy to verify, kind of hard to fake. If it wasn't for, so somebody said, Holy Cat said, if it wasn't for Tori connecting dots, I'd be without confirmation of my own research. Problem is, the dots she's connecting are not random dots. Those dots she's connecting are breadcrumbs leading you to a narrative, leading you to where the people that want to bury Shadowgate, leading you to where Flynn, Akbar, Funes, all of these people, these are all people that work and are controlled by the same, it's part of their network. And I can say that because literally I was pulled into their network. I was given unprecedented access to their network. I have the forensically verifiable information that I'm putting together right now in my book, Operation Shadowgate Part 2, which will be released February 22nd of 22. You can do pre-orders on it and help me out. You can do pre-orders on it and actually help me out. Make something put something together that's really good, that makes a difference, that exposes the truth. And let's just say, I don't know how that ends. I don't have the ability to put all of these things together to understand, even now, because the depth of the corruption, the depth of all of this. But I go back to, real quick, I go back to, where was that? It's in open here. I go back to this right here. And point out that Jason Funes, that Jason Funes literally says, haven't really been able to work with you since we both left the mayor's hotel. Are you a white hat or black hat? Came from black hat world. Does that mean no? You and PB's mission was to give enough info, then handicap. Now that your former bosses are back in power, you lay off exposing Shadowgate and 13 plus IIA operations running now. He was involved in this somehow. I'm trying to figure out how all that works out. I really am, right? But this was an operation. This was an operation that was on a very large scale, tactical and coordinated by multiple people. So let me do this.
Not a surprise, because over half of his appointees were Federalist Society members whose oaths are to something else other than the Constitution, in my view. And they've proven it repeatedly while being on the bench, and in just the brief time they've been on the bench. So this is just absolute deference to the executive branch, misuse and abuse of judicial power to silence a defendant
Holy Cats, who's in YouTube land. Could you please explain your thing, what you said about Sergeant Joe Biggs while this is running?
From arguing in the court of public opinion or exposing government malfeasance and misconduct in the court of public opinion. That's all that it.
Court of public opinion. Oh, Civics 101. And who controls court of public opinion? Military industrial complex. Partnerships with Facebook, Twitter, YouTube to control the narrative. Assets all through mainstream media, tactical, controlled. So if you control the narrative, if you control the court of public opinion through all of that, what he's saying is not false. It's Civics 101. That's how they've impacted. That's how they've impacted That's how they've impacted that. I'm looking over here. Holy Cats, General Petraeus. What was it? Just when you get a chance, so let me know what you were talking about, Joe Biggs. But you asked about Michael Hastings connected the other night. No. Definitely, he is absolutely connected. Joe Biggs is absolutely connected to Michael Hastings. All of this stuff comes around and connects back to many of the same people. It's absolutely astounding. This will be, when it's all said and done, the biggest corruption scandal possibly in human history. You like my line, friends mug? Got that in Korea. Line is big in Southeast Asia. So let me go on here. This is just about done. I'm going to play.
But it really is
something that you're going to be.
So I had so many things to
by.
say. One of which was the idea of preventing the eyes of the public from accessing this evidence. So if it's submitted, Robert, in court proceedings, then it becomes public, or is it not still suppressed in the context of court proceedings?
It depends. The court can make a second ruling on that at that time, whether or not to seal it or disclose it. Yeah, so at this point, it's going to be unless he's real creative and aggressive in filing things in court. All this information will stay secret until there's a trial. And how he can get a fair trial in the District of Columbia is a joke to me, as we'll get to with what the D.C. Circuit said about Trump. It's not possible to get an impartial jury or impartial judge, for the most part, in the District of Columbia.
Well, before we get there, Robert, you're not straw man, steel man this for me. I can't even conceive of what could be in that indictment, charging documents, the information submitted to the grand jury. I can't conceive logically what could have been sensitive enough to even require a protective order in the first place. Hypothetically, steel man it for me. What could be in the documents submitted to the grand jury for Bannon's indictment that could be necessary remotely for a protective order?
Think about that, people. What is this whole thing about? What's this whole thing about? Bannon is connected to what? Cambridge Analytica. He's one of the co-founders, along with the Mercers. Who are they? Jesus. Parlor. They're just doing a big. This is all about the data. It's worth billions of dollars, and not only is it worth billions of dollars, they can use it to influence elections. They know this. It's a proven fact, and you can do it for a fraction of the cost you can, winning honorably, right? So why do that? Which is inherently why we have such a broken government right now, because people who are in our government right now aren't there because they're the most qualified. They're there because they are the most morally and ethically bankrupt. And that's what we have, and that's why we have them, right? That's why we're in the problem. That's why we have the problem we're in right now.
I mean, historically, this stuff is stuff they got through. They claim grand jury secrecy. Anything the grand jury got should be kept secret until it goes to trial. That's not what grand jury secrecy is about. Grand jury secrecy is supposed to be until there is an indictment. The information that the grand jury has, they have to keep secret, not people who testify before it, as the government routinely tries to lie people into believing. But even try to intimidate James O'Keefe and Project Veritas on those grounds. Completely bogus the way they went about it.
Again, what happened to James O'Keefe? We need to find out who gave James O'Keefe, through the attorneys, the Biden girl's diary, because that was a setup. That was like, get this in his hands so that police can raid his house and take his. It was a signal. Take all of his comms.
Any private.
I believe with very high confidence that was Tory. That, by the way, that handed that stuff, handed that diary off to him. She's bragged about it publicly. She's made private comments to me over the summer about it as well. She tried to get me involved with it. I said, fuck off. There's no way I'm getting anywhere near. It's a girl's diary. Just leave it alone. Is this how we need to win elections? You know, it's bad enough their own family doesn't give two shits about their kids. Do we need to, as parents, do we need to use that type of information to win? Again, if we do, what have we actually won?
Private citizen who appears before the grand jury is not subject to grand jury secrecy, period. End of story. Only the grand jurors and the government and the investigators are, that are part of the government's case. So that's usually their pretext. This court order established no independent basis whatsoever for why for this broad protective order. None. Didn't say here's why, here's the kind of information. Said no, if it's criminal discovery, it has to be hidden from the world. That was it. That was all the judge said. It was not well reasoned or well argued in the opinion.
It was barely reasoned at all. The only thing I was asking myself, and I said in my vlog, is it was granted in part. What part of it was not granted? Because the judge, he opened the caveat: documents that are already public or already in Bannon's possession are not covered by the order. If that was the concession, well, big freaking deal, whoop-de-doo.
That was already the law. You can't order a protective. You can't apply a protective order to things that aren't part of the.
Holy Cat made a comment in YouTube. Cambridge Analytica director Brittany Kaiser testified to UK court. Yes, she did. And how was she connected to there, by the way? I've got to, you have to excuse me for one moment. I got to bring up this. I got to bring this over here. Here, I'll just put it. I got to bring my Twitch over there because I'm completely ignoring my Twitch friends. Here, we'll just leave that like that, actually. There we go. No, we'll make it big again. Yeah, I'm completely ignoring my Twitch friends because they were behind my YouTube graph GUI. But Holy Cat said Cambridge Analytica director Brittany Kaiser. Well, okay. Yeah, right. She testified against Trump. We talked about that as best we could in Shadowgate 2. She basically was trying to hurt his credibility and tie the Russians to Trump through Cambridge Analytica. But, okay. Now, keep in mind, Rudy Giuliani, who was being attacked by pretty much everybody, as an alcoholic, by Byrne and all of these people, and Flynn. Rudy Giuliani had two clients. One was President Trump. The other was a guy named Mike Tremarco. Mike Tremarco was one of the co-founders, one of the original investors in Dish Networks. His co-founder of Dish Networks was Alexander Nix of Cambridge Analytica fame. You'll remember Holy Cats. You'll remember Alexander Nix in that documentary where they were where they were where he was talking to Brittany Kaiser, right? And so Mike Tremarco is Rudy Giuliani's client, right? And Mike Tremarco had hired Rudy Giuliani to sue Nix for $60 million because Nix screwed. It was Mike Tremarco's position that Nix's involvement in Cambridge Analytica ended up costing Tremarco like $60 million in some type of like maybe devaluation of his stock or something. It was because of what Nix's involvement with Cambridge Analytica ended up doing and kind of rubbing off on Dish TV. That's the best explanation that I've got, but that's an absolute. Okay, so $60 million lawsuit. Now, who else is involved with that? Well, General Michael Flynn was on the board of directors of Cambridge Analytica, right? Cambridge Analytica was data scraping. They were selling your data. They were using your data, mining your data to use to influence elections. Oh, my God. Anybody who watched Shadowgate would have seen that that's exactly what I was exposing in Shadowgate, right? Just what I was exposing was the work that I had done from 2007 to 2010. The stuff Brittany Kaiser was exposing as she testified, didn't even begin till after 2010. But it's all the same people, right? It's all the same people that were connected. General Jones, the guy that I worked for, who owned Dynology, whom I helped build the ShatterNet for, he was on the board of directors of Wikistrat, owned by Joel Samel, of Psy Group. So Wikistrat Psy Group is basically under the purview of General Jones and General Hayden. They're partners. They're both on. You can look at the Wikistrats thing from the New York Times. It shows them on the board. So they are directly connected. The people I built the ShatterNet for were directly connected to Cambridge Analytica. Cambridge Analytica used Psy Group to do their black ops, according to testimony. So there's an immediate direct connection between what Brittany Kaiser is bragging about being their pioneering, groundbreaking, pioneering work in social media psychological warfare. And I'm saying, hey, you got that from my boss. I built that shit back in 2007. Here's our fucking receipts. You got receipts for yours, Miss Brittany? I do. So it's all connected. These people are all connected. They know it. And so where we're going with this, and we're just gonna keep going because this is important. Where they're going with this, you're gonna see how. We're gonna see how. Look what we got. You're gonna love this with like the Sussman indictments and shit from a year ago. What oh my God, what these guys keep going.
Protective order, no duh.
What? Why? I mean, that's like, why is that even in the judgment? Okay, that which is in public domain can't be protected. Thank you, Dr. Einstein judge. But I mean, what part of the order was not granted? Where was any? The order basically said, if it's not protect, I forget what the word was for the second part of it, but protected or classified information. It wasn't classified.
It was if they put the word sensitive on it, then it had a higher threshold before it could even be put into court. I mean, the only thing that should have been protected, or there was even an argument for protecting, was what was labeled sensitive, and even some of that was too broad. Again, we have public trials for a reason, and you have a right to defend yourself in the court of public opinion, as the U.S. Supreme Court has said in prior cases, Gentile versus State of Nevada, and yet they're basically denying Bannon that right. They're prohibiting him from exposing government misconduct related to his case.
It's funny now. I'm putting pieces of puzzles together in my head. They tried to do this in the Colfage-Bannon indictment. They tried to get a gag order enjoining Colfage from publicly discussing the trial while he was being indicted on alleged fraud for the We Build the Wall. It's un-effing believable, because the second you extricate from the equation the aggregate knowledge of the internet, public opinion, people who can help crowdsource knowledge to Bannon, you then put one party at an absolute disadvantage.
What if I told you that you could get a beautiful, lifetime, energy-efficient metal roof for the same
advantage, because the prosecuting party has endless resources.
That was me. When the court did that to Millie Weaver, and she was under a freaking, suppression, a gag order like that, producing a Shadowgate 2 that was going to exonerate the claims that I made, she couldn't do it. These people are catching on now.
Endless funds, endless assets to do what they want to do for prosecution, and the defendant can't even make copies of the documents. And if it's sensitive information, Robert, he can't even take notes unless his counsel ensures that the notes being taken are compliant with this court order. And I do want to highlight, it was a Trump appointee for the judge, and that's not to say the judgment has to be either better or worse. It's just to say, I did my entire assessment. I didn't know who the judge was. I said, this order, in my mind, reeks of garbage. Then I say it's a Trump appointee. It's like, holy crap, maybe there's a reason why this is a good order. And it's like, no, this is all bull crap, and I don't care that the judge was appointed by Trump. The judge made the wrong decision, or at the very least.
Did he? We want to assume that, right? We want to assume that. If I can find this, this is worth it, and I can just play it real quick, right from my phone. Here we go. This is absolutely relevant. Screen recording. There you are. This is absolutely relevant. Listen to this. Pause that. There we go. This is the guy. Am I on mute? No, I had to double check. I'm not on mute still. This is the guy from YouTube. Right? Veritasium.
True, you should try as hard as you can to disprove it. Only then can you really get at the truth and not fool yourself.
Here, do that again.
If you think that something is true, you should try as hard as you can to disprove it. Only then can you really get at the truth and not fool yourself.
Right? Y'all could hear that, right? If you really want to get at the truth, if the truth is truly what you're looking for, and you're not afraid to deal with the consequences that come with finding the truth, then you'll only know something's true is if you try to disprove it. If you just sit there and agree with something scientifically, we wouldn't have invented Velcro, right? We wouldn't have invented generic Viagra, right? So let me go over to Viva Bonds here. And I've got them there in the screen here as well. And we're going to finish this with them.
Really stretch the bounds of the believable. But they have to live with this court order now pending the entire indictment, or is there anything remotely appealable in this decision?
You can appeal, but you're appealing to the D.C. Circuit. So unless you get a miracle and you get the U.S. Supreme Court to take it, which would be an extreme long shot, you're stuck. And the D.C. Circuit made clear this week in Trump's objections to the January 6th committee subpoenas that the D.C. Circuit is just a bunch of political hacks who will make up facts and think MSNBC is equivalent to God's gospel when it comes to the truth about January 6th.
Okay, now hold on. Before we get there, I don't do this for the numbers, people, but we did just crack 10,000 live viewers here.
Okay. So let's transition to a year ago, shall we? This is like just like 51 seconds. It's an introduction to what they're going to be discussing. I think I cut it off before they finished one name.
We've got a number of things on the menu for tonight before I bring in Robert, who looks dapper yet again. On the menu, I've posted it up here, so I'm looking behind. Millie Weaver, update. We're going to just talk about a few things, lingering questions that I have. The Bannon indictment, because it's an interesting topic. Not so much interesting. Well, I know Robert has a different opinion on it. I think more interesting than the Bannon indictment is all the other unnamed charities that don't get this level of scrutiny. Kleinsmith plea. We're going to try to.
Kleinsmith plea, and I believe they go into, and they go into the other guy. Watch this, which is connected to the same people. Again, it all connects right to here. I had that hanging right there when I was calling Ali Akbar a terrorist piece of shit, among other things. Trying not to get blocked on YouTube just after getting going again. By the way, holy cats, we got to talk about that, the Westhousing thing. I'm not aware of that. It'd be interesting to see. Dynology's been, they were around since, I believe, 2000. Actually, just before 9/11. They got stood up just before 9/11. Yeah, Michael. Watch. Listen. This is good. And these are just shortcuts that I actually had the time to do.
Amazing. And now, speaking of which, I think it's a good segue. Let's deal with Millie Weaver, because there's been an update since our last stream, which was the disclosure of the secret indictments, revealing what the charges were, what it seems to have stemmed from. I guess first things first, for anybody who doesn't know, Millie Weaver is a journalist, independent journalist. She does contract work for InfoWars. I was corrected on that. So she's not employed by InfoWars, but does contract.
You know, Alex Jones was correcting everybody when she was still in jail on that, too. He is such a worm.
Work for them. Apparently, the day that she was releasing her documentary called Shadowgate, she was arrested. She recorded the incident to say that it went viral, and all coverage of it went viral. I think people were very interested in the story because people were making connections that you can't blame them for making, even if some of them panned out to be more or less on target. She is arrested, brought to jail Friday afternoon, in jail, with her husband until Monday morning. Apparently, Department of Child Protective Services got involved on the Monday. The secret indictment, which was released, showed that she was being arrested or charged with robbery because of an incident where she took her mother's cell phone and apparently pushed her mother to the ground.
Remember, originally, Millie, when they picked Millie up, the police, they said that they were arresting her for burglary of her own home. The computers went down for several hours at the facility as they were being processed in. And when they came back up, the charges had changed from burglary to robbery. Because apparently you can rob someone in your home. You can't burgle your own home, as Millie said.
Because her mother was apparently recording conversations of her husband and her brother berating her. Her mother had come to live.
True story. As I was told, Millie and Gavin caught their mom downstairs in their studio in the private area where Gavin has all his studio set up to do his recording. They got the sound booth room with the clear glass. Millie sits out there. They got the chairs in the studio. It's a nice studio, right? It's in the basement of their farmhouse. And they caught her mom taking pictures of the information on their computers. And this was like at the same time they had just reached out to me. They had just ordered my book, Victim of the Swamp. So they catch their mom. She catches her mom taking pictures of their stuff, and apparently that's what that resulted. That's what that was from. So here he is saying something close, but not actually very accurate.
With them during the My Sharona Cyrus Schmendrick. So I guess, and now so we see that the charges had nothing to do with burglary or theft of documents that were featured in the documentary. Totally unrelated. Coincidentally, it took a month to execute the warrant, and it was executed the day that she tweeted she was releasing the documentary. We'll get into that.
A month? No, that secret indictment went out, and I think Barnes corrects him here a little bit later. That secret indictment went out like April 20th, maybe April 25th. And this is the same time that this is exactly the same time that Tory reached out. April 16th is when Tory reached out to Millie and Gavin saying, hey, you guys should reach out to this guy Bergy. Actually, that's the same time she reached out to me. This is all freaking timed out, and I'm telling you right now, Tory was one of the key players behind that. And damn, those were some good gummies, I'm telling you right now.
First things first. Secret indictment is a scary word for sealed indictment. All indictments are sealed or are private, right?
Kind of. So in other words, the grand jury proceedings are secret, but indictments are sometimes not sealed. It depends on the local jurisdiction as to how often they're sealed. So so on that aspect, the overarching view, I still see the cases like Julian Assange. It's just the first charges against Julian Assange, which were personal, meant to discredit him, meant to set him up.
Why would he bring up Assange? That's interesting, right? Basically, he's saying the same thing that happened to Millie was what they did to Assange. But then again, we didn't do anything about Assange. Nobody stood up for that. And maybe if we had, Millie wouldn't have been arrested. Maybe if Millie hadn't have been arrested, maybe Bannon wouldn't be where he's at right now. If Bannon hadn't been where he was, maybe Ali Akbar would be snuggled up with Karl Rove right now.
One of the most absurd examples of overcharging ever. Essentially what they've charged her with is assault during a robbery. This is a charge limited that's intended for people who are carjacking, for people who are robbing people in a bank, robbing people in their home. I have never seen someone in a family dispute be charged with assault during a robbery. It is one of the dumbest charges I've ever seen. So it's clear, it's extreme overcharging. Mm-hmm. The anomalies with the case include, first and foremost, that the purported victim filed an affidavit, according to her own words, of non-prosecution and asked that no prosecution go forward.
Now, how did that happen? Right? Well, that happened because a lady that ended up becoming my attorney, Kelly, my attorney Kelly, back, even though I'd never met her or anything back then, she reached out to. She was doing some work with the people. She was doing some work with. I don't remember who, but she reached out to Millie's mom, did some research, found Millie's mom, got Millie's mom to sign the paper that they're talking about right now that states that she had told him that she didn't even press charges, told him she didn't even want charges pressed.
I've never seen...
And stop there. In fairness, I think from that comment that she had only filed the affidavit for non-prosecution after Millie was arrested. So I think the timing on that might be relevant. Whereas I thought she had done it back in April, it seems that she might have only done it on the weekend where she was arrested.
Well, it appears to be two things. She told them back in April to drop it, and then it was just a family misunderstanding. She then accelerated to an affidavit once she realized they had gone forward. So they had no cooperation from her. She had told her not to. She told them not to go forward. There's two sides of the story, according to police reports. The other side of the story is that she has issues, and that she'd always had issues, and that was the other side. And once you hear the other side say, "Look, she has issues, and these issues lead to her to make up some stories that aren't accurate," and then she tells you several days later, "Don't bring the charges." I've never seen them bring charges in that case. Least of all, felony charges, that are intended for actual crimes, not family disputes. So there's that aspect. So part one is you have no victim. That's unheard of for the most part. Very, very rare. Second, you have an incredible time delay that has been completely unexplained. This happened in April. They get an indictment around that time. Then they get a warrant in June or July.
Yeah, July 20.
July 20th is when it's formally issued. They could have got it long before then. So none of that makes sense. Why they need an arrest warrant doesn't make sense. This is a summons case. Then they do it right when she's releasing the film. That is very peculiar timing.
Right.
And then they hold her.
That is peculiar timing. All of these things, and if it was just one, like if it was just the timing of her uploading the documentary, and people will say, well, how could her mom have any connection to doing that? Well, I don't know. Maybe look into her mom's ex-boyfriend, who absolutely hates Millie and Gavin online, attacks them all the time, and but was the person that got them their job, apparently, at InfoWars. See, I literally believe my best guess in all of this is that Millie and Gavin were starting to ask a lot of questions about Charlottesville, about these little fucking pardon my French, about these I got to get my finger on the button. That's not even the right one. About these IIA assets. And they needed to be shut up. And so they figured kill two birds with one stone. And that's my personal opinion on this. But nonetheless, this is just way too much stuff to be a coincidence, right? Now, this is the last one that I was going to show on this.
That is very peculiar timing. And then they hold her over the weekend to do the shock and awe routine, which is an abusive tactic that they rarely use. That people say it's common. It's not common. It's only used in politically motivated cases where they want to coerce people.
And this is the dialogue that's happening. Everybody's saying, well, all indictments are sealed, or secret indictments are necessarily secret. They do this all the time. It's overcharging as a prosecutorial strategy, so it makes them easier to get a plea of guilty to a lesser charge. I mean, everybody has these sort of.
But most of that's wrong. Most of that's wrong. I mean, for example, with indictments are not always sealed. Sometimes, particularly at the local level, that's not universal. Now, I don't know the particular protocols in Portage County, Ohio. $5 so what I had heard from people up there was that was not common, particularly in these kind of cases. I mean, usually sealed indictments are for high-profile cases where someone's going to flee, or as a mob case, or as a witness tampering case, things like that. That's the biggest anomaly, is that any charges are being brought at all, given there's no complainant, and given the facts are in dispute, and that this appears to be a very minor family dispute.
This, I missed some of this. So I'm going to I missed some of this, and oh my God, I'll never find where this. It's towards the back. Oh my God. And I've got the link in the post, and let me do this here. I think I know where these were
on them. They would tell you to make sure the witness.
Okay.
Is under entrapment and other potential allegations if your client goes forward with an interview and it turned out they in fact were a target or a subject.
Okay. Klein-Smith. I didn't grab any of those, but I got it right here. So I got to bring this into there, the different one. There. This is from the same thing. It's just I had cut those clips and I needed to get a few more. It's a work in progress, my friends. But let me do this here.
Sub-part of that you factually agree with and a part that you don't factually agree with. And the judge, and when my client just pushed back a little bit because he was entitled to, because there's parts of that we're disputing, it's about the consequence and the intent level, not the facts themselves, if you will. Much earlier, is you look for a broader sentencing charge. Number one, classified email. It is almost impossible in any case to get evidence so clean, so clear, so easy, where you have the actual email that says Carter.
Here we go.
Target list. I've been put on subject list. I've been, et cetera. And it was massive. That dragnet was huge. If anybody was on a list that had been favorable to General Flynn, that Flynn had listed, and that still had any ranking position within government, they were targeted by Mueller. People.
2 hours and 17 minutes long, and I went right to the exact spot that I needed to go. Everybody connected to Flynn, like McChrystal, what you're going to hear here is is Barnes talking about this the Klein-Smith guy getting off, right? On oh my God, he's gonna get no trouble. And he's explaining what's going on. And he's saying that no one's gonna be held accountable and blah blah blah. And the whole time he was saying that back then, I was saying, wait a minute, maybe our Department of Justice isn't as stupid as we think that they are, and that they figured out the same shit that I did. Maybe they even listened to me in some of these areas. And
would be shocked by the kind of people he tried to put targets on. So the bar has not, there's been no evidence of that occurring at all.
And I believe he's saying that because people of influence and such have reached out to him and provided him this information. Or
we're right up on the eve of an election. They're not going to bring an indictment in September and October. That's not their nature. And that means they're gambling that Trump wins, because if he loses, the case will clearly be closed down. So the fact they waited until the last minute with Klein-Smith, who, by the way, Horowitz referred as for criminal prosecution a long time ago. Horowitz already outed everything. There's some people that think Klein-Smith came forward. He didn't come forward. Horowitz outed and proved what he had done, that he deliberately doctored and fabricated a document for it to be going into the FISA record to lie about Carter Page's history. So that's problem one, is the timing, complete lack of activity, late indictment on Klein-Smith right on the eve of the election. All the other activities with Atkinson and Atkinson and Tom Fitton are further confirmation that Barr is not serious about actually bringing meaningful prosecutions.
But correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Sussman working with Kleinsmith? So, does anybody in the chat agree with me that Barnes may have been wrong there when he said nothing was going to happen, especially if Trump lost? Because Trump lost, and Durham brought these charges against Sussman that worked for the same law firm as Kleinsmith. Kind of makes you think maybe Kleinsmith got a little bit of a deal and, ratted out some bigger players. Doesn't matter if Kleinsmith is back to work. If he's back to work, in my opinion, he gave them something freaking huge. Now, what Barnes is saying is that, if Trump loses, this is dead, there's going to be nothing. He was completely wrong about all of that.
Problem number 2 is what happened in the plea arraignment. So and to put this in context for people, they had a smoking gun against everybody involved, thanks to the Kleinsmith falsified email. It is almost impossible in any case to get evidence so clean, so clear, so easy, where you have the actual email that says Carter Page is a source, and then you have the doctored email where Kleinsmith typed in not a source, sent that in, it got put into the FISA application, and they have it all. They have the paper trail, the emails trail, the whole 9 yards. They have him dead to rights. They have a smoking gun. And what you want to do is you want to take that smoking gun, expand it to other potential areas of risk for Kleinsmith, and you go to Kleinsmith a year ago, not now, and you say, you're going to wear a wire, you're going to help out, you're going to assist, or we're going to put you in prison for 20 years because you have zero chance in front of.
If no one else had ever been arrested after Mr. Barnes made that statement, I would say, wow, he's probably right. But the fact that somebody was arrested about a year later, almost exactly a year later, kind of suggests that maybe somebody did reach out to Kleinsmith a year earlier, right? And yes, Sussman was on the board of CrowdStrike, all tied together, all tied back to everything. Again, it literally ties back to Shadowgate, ShadowNet. It all ties together. Now, again, what is this? 157.21. I want to go just back a little bit. Listen to what he says again.
And you go to Kleinsmith a year ago, not now, and you say, you're going to wear a wire, you're going to help out, you're going to assist, or we're going to put you in prison for 20 years because you have zero chance in front of a jury. And then you get that. You give him a deal that you could actually sentence him to at least 10 years. You give him a 5K1 agreement of a substantial cooperation, and you start having him rat people out and give the information. Because through that smoking gun, you get to unravel the whole thing. Because
now, doesn't it seem entirely likely, based on the Sussman indictments that followed Kleinsmith? Doesn't it actually seem like exactly what Mr. Barnes thought should have happened maybe actually happened? What is it? Occam's razor? Occam's rule? Occam's right. When all else, when you've removed all other options, it's the most likely one that's, and that's what you have. It's the most likely. And he just said that, but he's sitting there thinking, Well, no, it was like that's how they'd have to. They could have done that. They didn't do it. Now we're all screwed. Well, it doesn't look like we're entirely all screwed.
Because what it is
looks like Sussman is screwed. Probably some others.
you have that one big lie, that one easy to prove lie that discredits everybody in the process. That because what this lie was about was they tried to make Carter Page look like he'd been secretly meeting with Russian spies for over a decade, when in fact he'd been doing it at the behest of the CIA. They always had to lie about that because that would have gutted their entire FISA, prevented all of their searches, prevented the delegitimized the entire investigation, invalidated everything about the case, and put them all into serious trouble because they all signed off on it on the FISA application. And he could rat them all out. He could be the one to say, I got pressure from the supervisory special agent. And let's say that's apparently I'm told that the pronunciation is stroke. It's spelled like Strozik, but I got multiple comments on this. Also,
now, can we remember? Can we be reminded of Peter Strzok's connection to Patrick Byrne? In fact, Patrick Byrne was working with Peter Strzok as an asset just a couple years ago to set Hillary Clinton up. Remember? Well, that didn't work out so well. He got played. He did. This is all. Hell, do I have it right here? Patrick Byrne. I think you might have it right here. Byrne. Response. Feel the burn. Butina. Is this it?
And what was eventually but you want to know what happened was this. And here's the summary. On the last slide, there was an Operation Snow Globe to put Hillary Clinton in a crystal in a snow globe. Point, President Obama has his people the Russia collusion delusion, but especially the and this Bezmenov psyop, which you're going to be president you're living through now, and nothing's going to change. I believe these are connected. But while she's president, one think of there as being a these are all connected events. In the DOJ. I think there's one person behind it. If you want to know who the person is, two. You want to know who the person is? There's a simple way to find out. Sitting on that Bunsen burner. The hand on the Bunsen burner is going to be one of President Obama's people.
There we go.
If Hillary's a good girl and she defends Obamacare, that flame stays low. If she's a bad girl and thinks for itself, it gets turned up. And that way, President Obama is going to manage Hillary Clinton for the 8 years she's president. Then she's going to step down and Michelle's going to run. And Patrick, that's the plan. This plan, I later was told, was called Operation Snow Globe. But instead of a penguin, it's Hillary Clinton. And Brennan, and by the way, even though I just mentioned Obama, I have some good reason to believe he's not in himself. I think John Brennan's behind all of this, frankly. And I think that Brennan blackmails Obama. I think Obama is actually Brennan's guy. But anyway.
So, aside from the fact that Patrick Byrne's kind of coming off as a bit Cappy-like right now, that's absolutely just the Brennan shit's just garbage from Tory being pushed to him. So he says you can't trust Tory, that his investigators found that she lied. I found that she lied about everything that she says. So, you tell me if we should be, how much credibility we should be giving what Patrick says. But Operation Snow Globe, according to Patrick, which has nothing to do with Tory, according to Patrick, Operation Snow Globe involved Stroke and these others. They're all connected.
I think Brennan's behind everything here. To these people. That's what's gone on. They wanted her in a snow globe that for 8 years Brennan could take it and hold it and shake it up and own Hillary Clinton. That happened. And so here's my analysis of that. I may run about 5.
So let me go back here to Barnes with the screen there.
That is very peculiar timing. And then they hold her over the weekend to do the shock and awe routine, which is an abusive tactic that they rarely use. That people say.
There we go. So, they're all connected. All these names, all these same people. Again, I go back to, had we done something when we had a chance with the arrest of an American journalist as she's uploading Shadowgate, I don't think Bannon would be having this problem right now. Bannon is connected to all of these people, right? I was there. Bannon is connected to Mike Cernovich. I don't think I have Cernovich's shit loaded yet. I will. And when I get that loaded, we're going to have some fun with that. But Cernovich, let me see here. Screen recordings. No. Cernovich Cernovich was on YouTube back in 2017 of April, which I have the video that I play all the time, that shows him blackmailing, saying that he has blackmail information on Trump's staff, on journalists in D.C., and oddly enough, on Ann Vandersteel's former boss, Mitchell, the gray-haired guy that looks like he's on coke all the time. So these people are all connected. And, people have given me such a hard time for pointing out something that now seems so obvious or is becoming really obvious to people, right? We got to stop supporting. We've got to stop supporting these people. You're empowering them. You're enabling them. If you enable people like Tory or people like Jason Funes, Flynn, Roger Stone, right, who just did a big fundraiser on Sunday. He won't answer anything about his sergeant at arms creating that bullshit that said I molested my damn daughter, right? He won't call that out. Roger Stone won't call this out. But you can see it says I was with Roger Stone for a pre-Trumparilla event right before he did that. And as you saw a month earlier, maybe longer than more than a month earlier, back when I had originally launched my book, you saw that he was, let me see here, going after me for stuff like with the Proud Boys, right? These are all Stone's people. And he says, I think he says in here, in one of these, he made the comment about how, let me do this here. In one of these, he made the comment about how, here we are, victims. Yep, he made in one of these. He made the yeah, that's where that is open. In one of these, he made the comment about how that's where about I was lying about Ali Akbar and Stone. I think it was this one. No. About Ali Akbar and Stone. Yeah, I think it's this one. Right? So, they're all connected. Roger Stone won't call out. He won't call out this guy right here, who's been just trying to destroy my life. he's done a pretty good job as far as destroying my book sales and stuff for my second book, part 1. But actually, I have pretty significant evidence that shows that he was working with Tory on that. You guys starting to understand the level of betrayal that I deal with every day. This is a good example.
You know, and then they start throwing me in United States penitentiaries, the highest security, prisons in the United States. I was in Atlanta and Beaumont and Florence, Colorado, Leavenworth, Kansas. It's tough because there's not many people that served over a decade in prison for stealing identities.
Yeah, I mean.
So that guy you just saw right there from the Armenian Council, that was Sean, apparently working with, again, I got to confirm that. I will. I have. That was Sean that was engaged with that Funes. Back at the Willard around the 20th. I would like to thank wait. Y'all want to see how fucked up this shit is? I'm going to read something that was given to me by one of these sociopaths. Actually, like I said, Bergy. Thanks for being in my life. Thanks for helping me, believing in me. You can do great things. Kristen. Again, I never did anything with her. I believe she was being abused by these people, by Jonathan Lee Riches. I don't just believe it. I have legitimate evidence on that. He's a freaking sociopath. I believe, though, others were involved. I believe Sean Weitzman. I believe all these people. They hacked the living shit out of this girl's brain. I tried to help her. I never laid a hand on her as far as inappropriately. I did not have sexual intercourse with that woman. And that wasn't like a Bill Clinton thing. That was an honest thing. I took her to the Attorney General in Florida to try to get the Attorney General to help us. We were turned away. And once we got turned away, she was fucked. Shortly thereafter, she was brought back into their group thinking nobody's going to be able to help you. Right? We betrayed someone who I believe probably deep down is a good mother, who was a victim, who is a victim of all of these things. We betrayed her. We, America, to protect people like Roger Stone, General Flynn, Akbar. You can do great things. We can. We really can. But not if we keep trying to destroy the people trying to do good. The people out there, the whistleblowers, real ones. Not the time travelers selling their bullshit, fulfilling their deliverables. Our country, if we ever do survive this, has got a lot of self-reevaluation that it needs to be doing. because the way our country has behaved, the way they have behaved and treated me. You know, when I was at that event, I was living in the veterans' pod of a homeless shelter. And ended up through, Bikers for Trump, with $2,500 tickets to the governor's inaugural ball. How does that happen? How does that happen? Ollie Snack Bar. Folks, I'm going to sign off. But I thank everyone for taking the time. Please share this if you can. If you can help, please go to freedomstream.tv. You can get the annual subscription now. I'm going to put in, I've actually already got a request in. I suspect by the end of the year, the first of the year, I should be able to get a coin in from the printers. Going to probably do 100 initially. I'm probably going to limit it to 1,000. But it's really cool, right? And it helps out a lot. You can also just go there and contribute to the general fund, a one-time contribution. I actually fixed that. You can also pre-order Operation Shadowgate 2, which if you do the pre-order, you help me out being able to survive while I get this done. And you also help me get it done a little bit better. So if you can do that, that's great. None of that is grifting. That's actually kind of a good thing. That's actually you're not grifting. You're not grifting when you actually have a product that you've created. Someone might disagree as to whether or not the quality of it or something. They can do that all day long. But you can't accuse someone of grifting who's made a product, signs it, and ships it to you. So, on that note, if you all can help out, these people have been absolutely putting a beating on me. But nonetheless, I've turned that around, and I've been doubling down on my efforts to try to be able to build Freedom Stream TV into a really sharp portal that's easy and effective and provides really good content very reasonably. We're going to be expanding into, it stays into the same area, right? Cyber warfare, things that I'm a subject matter expert in, that I can provide a fact-based knowledge to. And we'll have conversations about that, conversations about 5G, conversations about all these things. But right now I got to finish this book, which I think may be the most significant book possibly in humankind's history. Yeah, go big or go home, right? Thank you very much, everyone. I'm sorry I couldn't spend more time in the chats. The moderators help them out. Thank you very much. Hip, be careful. I was supposed to tell you, be careful who you, we want to let people be able to talk. If somebody wants to call me a dick and shit, let them call me all they want, right? If you want to dox me with the Proud Boys, or if somebody wanted to pour acid on my skin or something, I use your judgment on that one, Hip. But otherwise, it goes to the highest. It goes to the highest level. You have to be horrible to get blocked, because this is how we have a conversation. This is how we have an awakening. Not going to have it if we're turning people away. We're not going to win this thing if we're not bringing people together with a common enemy. Common enemy is military-industrial complex. But right now, thank you all very much. Good night, and God bless everyone.